And I'll send you the link later. Uh,
Okay.
One of the things I do with the Zoom, just
Yeah.
by way of introduction, is that whenever I do my coaching sessions, which are usually 90 minutes, sometimes 3 hours,
Wow.
especially once we start talking, it's hard to shut up. Well, Zoom sends me the video, but it also sends me the concise audio only, the MP3, and I can drop that into Google's Notebook LM, which is their AI. That thing will index the whole thing, create a summary, not just a transcript, but it gives you all the ideas in clusters with
hmm
references, and it'll do a study guide. It will
hmm
also generate a 10 to 15-minute podcast summary of it. It creates two little personas. Serious. And it'll have two people talking like two little monkeys that listen to what it heard, and it'll summarize that and like a conversation. And it is terrifying how good it is.
What?
So, since I'm lazy, I took about 1,000 hours of recorded coaching, which is just me in the wild and my
Yeah.
clients. And we dumped that into one giant notebook project. Now that thing has an entire coaching protocol with questions and answers
hmm
that have been asked, hundreds of times and answered 100 different ways. And it has sort of, captured the spirit of our coaching, which I make available to them and other clients. Just say, hey, there's no magic and mystery other than just doing the work creates magic and mystery, as you know. And so we're just starting to explore that. I'm writing a book on that with my friend in and that and this is going to connect to what I would like us to work on.
Yeah.
So I coach professional traders, market traders, and a friend of mine does that in England. He's got about 300,000 subscribers to his podcast. And we're going to write a book called The Book of Five Frames, which we discovered after the fact was sort of like Miyamoto Musashi's book on Japanese swordsmanship from the 1600s, A Book of Five Rings, in which
hmm
he talks about the spiritual nature of the sword and the warrior. So we had come up with five frames, which is a complex place in space and time where the trader and the market and their systems and everything has to come together to be prepared
hmm
to engage in the marketplace as a trader. And it's a sacred duty when you're managing other people's money and their livelihood. And it's a it's a rough and tumble free market.
hmm
And in many ways it has similar qualities to that found in combat, which I'm familiar with as a
Yeah.
25 years retired soldier and combat
hmm
veteran and 40-year veteran of the markets. One of the ways that you can look at the market and understand it is as a combat environment where there's long periods of nothing happening and then furious moments when everything is happening and all the spaces in between and all the stress and all the judgment and all the consequences and the follow on impact of all the decisions that you make. It stays with you forever. Well, that generates a lot of psychological stress, psychological challenges. It can distort your behavior and your persona until you work through all that stuff and become aligned with your dharma, with your fate, with your purpose. Uh, and so, as a soldier for 50 years and as a trader for 50 years, I've noticed that there's about a 98% overlap between those two worlds in terms of the types of decisions and the responsibilities and the consequences. So, when I met Mark Randall, he approaches the psychology of traders from a very boot camp directed checklist, proper procedures, discipline, straight and narrow, mental and physical and moral strength,
Mm,
very, very male principled yang of the yin yang. He's very yang, you know. My approach to the markets is very yin. I'm analytical, nonlinear, reflexive, adaptive. I trade because I find it nurturing
mm,
and satisfying, and the results of my trading allow me to support people in the world with whatever needs to be done, whether it's leadership academies, soccer scholarships, business support to other to people in need, whatever, and taking care of my own family. So I come from a very yin style of almost a jujitsu and judo style of feeling flow and lots of circles.
mhm,
And
mhm.
he and I work together in a very complementary way. So we're writing this book together and it's emerging. And one of the things that I want to do on my side is we're each going to take the five frames it talks about, like how to plan, prepare, execute, and assess continuously towards your higher self. And in each one of those frames, he's going to talk about the yang principles, and I'm going to talk about the yin principles, and we're going to give action oriented help to people through the book. And then if they're interested and it resonates, then we have a scale of things that we can offer in good faith at a value price, and let we let the people find their level of comfort by being upfront, open, and honest, and give 10 times as much as they pay for. So um, I have about 300 direct um, subscribers and clients that I work with. Um, I have about
Wow.
I have about 50,000 people that follow my public videos on YouTube, and I just got recruited and signed a deal with a company in Europe called Slice, who is recruiting a base of creators who want to subscribe to various mentors, teachers, and coaches. And these guys are in the business of creating the social media infrastructure to support that exchange. And they're going to take a 20% broker's fee by creating the infrastructure, bringing people in, and then picking the right mentors. So they've got about 15,000 people in that, which was enough of a proof of principle in order to get a $1 million funding grant from a hedge fund to really build that out. So it's 15,000, and now they're going to go into overdrive on building their subscriber base. They had several thousand people nominate me to be one of the teachers, coaches, and mentors on that site. So they asked me if I was interested in that, and I said, well, yes, I am. So on about 1 May,
Mhm.
somewhere around 1 May, I'm going to open up that portal and start talking to their world. And folks are going to subscribe to me at some monthly or annual rate, of which 80% is me. And what I'm going to send them is not only the signals on what to trade, but information on how to trade. And I think more importantly, how to integrate trading into your total life in a healthy, aligned way as just one of the things that you do towards right action. You gotta have a relationship with that as a wholesome, healthy part of a complete person, you know. So alignment is
Mhm.
everything. Well, there I was stuck, and we're in that session last week. And I was all over the place. I was writing things with my head in that direction, writing things with my intuition in that direction, my heart struggling
Yeah.
to, oh, come on, horses, you're running wild. I need you. The horse is my shadow app. and he just runs wild. And I enjoy the energy, but I can't let him drive if he's just gonna. So there it was, two horses pulling, and the heart with the cart of all the values and pulled all over the place. So when you said about three sentences at just the right time, I got everything aligned for me because I had been talking with my clients about this image half formed in my head about a golden bridge over a dangerous river to get
Yeah.
to the far side where, land of milk and honey. But we're over here anchored in shadow. So I'm doing separate shadow work and separate dream work and central sacred work, but they're all three independent pillars. And if I'm doing one, I have to, I'm not doing the other two, and I have to climb down from one to walk across the desert, go back to where I was in order to advance. So I was disintegrated. I was misaligned. And then you said, I think three things. You said, I'll misquote you, but it was what I remember is sacred fire, uh, golden bridge, and fully aligned. And it was like, oh yeah. And then instantly, what I realized was those three separate pillars are three parts of the five parts. So there's shadow, there's work, and there's dream. And the connection between those two, between shadow and work, is integration. I got to do shadow work in order to integrate that into myself. That integration, now, if I can, I just start with wherever I am and build
Hmm.
towards that, and then the integration happens. That's done. I don't have to climb down and go to a separate place. I can bring both of those into the integration space. And now that connection is made. And the shadow work, when it's completed, releases all that energy and evil intent and sad memory. All of that is sort of properly placed, internalized where it's needed, offered to the universe as a gift of trust, and to create space for loving acceptance. You got to make room for that by offering your gift of all your pain and suffering and whatever you don't understand. That's faith, that's trust and love. Well, if you go the other direction, from self to aspirational self, the dream self, the space in between that is transformation. So I have to bring the best, if I do all my work and to take the top 20%, my best work, and I bring that into the transformation space, I am now showing the paths on which I can actually improve. And my dream self has to bring the blueprint of where we want to go and come back and connect it and say, all right, we have these big dreams, but you have to take steps. And these are your best steps already. So we're just going to adjust the path so that you can now, and now the transformational connection is made. And now the entire golden bridge appears from shadow to integration to work to transformation to aspiration. And those are now anchored in the ground. That was the other word you said was grounded. Then I realized instead of having the head pulling this way and the gut pulling that way and the heart in the middle, I realized that the heart is the grounding connection to Mother Earth. And I saw that in that golden bridge, there was a center support beam that starts grounded through my heart, which has aligned my gut and my head to connect to the keystone of that bridge where all the work is being done. And if you look at it from a distance, it's now a semicircle anchored in the ground, heart anchored in the ground, vertical beam. It looks like the tree of life that is now in full bloom and flowering. Oh, and if you look underneath that tree of life, you realize that the tree that you see has the equivalent root structure anchored in Mother Earth, which is all of your roots, which is connected to all of your past and your legacy and your tribe, ashes to ashes and dust to dust, but nothing is ever lost. they put that in the ground for you to nourish as you grow and flower. And someday you start with Mother Earth and your tree of life grows, and then you join them on the far side in Father Sky in the land of Kairos, which is timeless, eternal, simultaneous, where all of your past, present, and future selves from all other worlds are together with all knowledge of you and there to support you. And we forget that when we're on this side of the looking glass in the time of Chronos, which is steady marching, you think by yourself. Sometimes that sacred
Mm.
fire helps us open up that portal when we realize our full connection. So that's what I felt. And with your just a few words at the right exact moment, that little tweak helped me get fully aligned, complete that whole story, make the mosaic and in an incomplete, imperfect way because we're just people. And that's been helping people and it's been helping me. So I say all that in order to say, here's what I am dreaming of. This is, I'm going to tell you, uh, I see a change in the world that needs to be made. I want to make that change in a certain way. I need your help. I'm asking for your help in a certain way. I'm hoping that you'll say yes in some way, and I'll listen to that, and then we'll figure out if you say yes, then it's a simple matter of plan, prepare, execute, and assess, and we know how to do that. If if you for any reason you don't even have to have a reason, say no, I will just say, well, give me the names of three people that can help me. And one of those three people may be you in the future, in which case, no might have just meant not yet, not now, but someday, maybe, and if, and or these other people. So that's your 3 minute speech when you're talking to anybody. I see this change in the world, and here's the change in the world that I see. I want all of my clients now and in the future to be able to feel that same sense of alignment and groundedness and connection to sacred work and the golden bridge supported by holy fire as you the gift you gave to me. I want them to
Yeah.
experience that. So here's in my primitive monkey brain. This this is how I felt. So I'm a judo player, and in judo, we talk about being on balance in your center and grounded, and you can't really be moved if you're grounded. It's just like trying to lift a mountain. You really can't. A good judo player, he can't throw him. If he doesn't want to be thrown, he can't be thrown. You might take a bulldozer and plow
Wow.
over him, but you can't throw him if he's anchored. The only way you can actually throw somebody is if they are imbalanced, which we call kazushi.
Mm.
I induce
Kasushi.
kazushi either by pushing you a little bit off balance and then you fall, or I push you a little bit, you push back, and then I receive that energy and instantly go the other way stronger. And then our energy together takes the imbalance and goes more until we tumble and roll. In judo, the first thing we do is learn how to fall by rolling back to our feet. So you just take your energy instead of linear and hit the ground, you turn it into a circle and you just create a wheel out of your body and you just roll through it and land up on your feet. In order to throw in judo, you create that same circle, you attach the person to you, and then you just roll. And then they are on the outside of your wheel, and that's a judo throw. You have to be careful,
Wow.
don't hurt your partner. So
Similar.
it's all wheels and circles. Yeah.
Mm.
So what my thought was, uh, with traders, there's about 8 different ways. There's a million, but there's 8 specific ways in which they can be off balance in the way their trading persona is engaging with the market and with themselves. When they are not imbalanced, or when they are balanced, then they're in perfect harmony. And so my thought was that as an immediate 5 minute treatment for any one of those 8 imbalances, that I can tell you what those imbalances are and I can model that, and you could feel the Reiki response, the holy fire thing that completes the circle It allows them to get back into balance. And then whenever they feel any of those eight things, that little treatment helps them immediately get centered, sort of put out the fire, if I can say it that way, or use the fire to get to safety. And if that's 5 minutes times eight sessions or eight treatments, eight little episodes or short stories, well, 5 or 10 minutes of introduction and
Hmm.
relaxation and get your mind right and a general purpose relaxation and make them prepared. Then the treatment and then the aftercare of 10 minutes. Now we have an hour long
Hmm.
first aid kit for traders, which we could produce in a week.
Yes.
And then I can make that available to all my people, my 40,000 people on YouTube, and that growing. And that would be chapter one in what I would encourage you to think about doing a longer treat. If that was the first aid kit and the gentle picking up and moving on, a longer treatment would be you designing stuff for them as traders to grow in strength and resilience and flexibility, a program of raising them up to a healthier starting position all the time, which then expands into every other dimension of their life, not just for trading. So the introduction of Reiki Holy Fire to them would be through immediate healing and helpfulness in that very important area of their life. And then an easy applications, as you know, it worked when it was really hard and difficult. Imagine how it's going to feel in areas that are already gentle and happy and loving and add this for completion. And here's a way that you can bring these eight separate parts of yourself together in total alignment is so that's sort of where this could go is unlimited. If you see what I mean. So
Yes.
what I really would like to do is as I sent you some background notes that I just said, look, hey, AI well trained. I don't know anything specifically about holy fire Reiki. I know a little enough to be able to ask good questions and to feel it when I feel it. And so um,
Yeah.
I sort of drafted the eight imbalances and what they're like to give you some ideas of what the
Hmm.
thing is that we're trying to heal or to fix or to rebalance. But I wanted you to hear that sort of story from me as a trader who, as soon as you did that 5 minute treatment in our little one on one session, I was good. I was like unleashed and completed so much work and got so much better just from the right word at the right time. Uh, that's what I want them to feel. So that's everything I wanted to say about that. That's what I see the change in the world. The first couple of steps would be to complete an hour long partnered uh, holy fire Reiki treatment for traders, first aid kit, and a vitamin supplement, essentially. And then future chapters, if there's interest, is
Yeah.
a longer home study program, scheduling sessions for them and you as traders, and into whatever your ecosystem is for helping
Mhm.
people through the web. That could go everywhere. And then the scale of this, just for traders, if I'm any judge of the market, the home study course and this little treatment could do very well. Of which I certainly want to share all of that with you. Yeah, and I don't care. You just pick the
Yes.
number that you pick the number that feels right. If it's 50-50, I'm happy. If it's 80-20 you, if it's 80 you, 20 me, I'm happy. If it's 80 me, 20 you, I'm happy. I think 50-50 is the easiest way to go because I'm going to contribute things on the sort
Okay.
of the rational and the thinker and the trader side. But on the first little first aid kit, I thought
Yes.
maybe if you're happy with 50-50, I'm happy. If you need 80-20 your way, I'm happy. I just want to work with you and let other people work with you.
Yeah, I'm pretty simple. Yeah, I feel like you're the foundation of it all.
Yeah.
So, if you would want to do more, I'm totally okay with that because I feel like I'm an addition to your genius. And Yeah, I love what you're doing. I'm fascinated. I want to read everything. But I love the way you explain it to me because that's what I'm working with, and that's the level of attunement, or we call it
Yeah,
ignition. And this is what I'm training for a really long
yeah,
time. So
yeah.
your
What I
was
think,
a
what I could
win-win for me for
suggest.
sure.
Now, this is what I imagine doing the work on this would be like. Is I've written out what I think are the kind of the script outlines, and what I would like to do
Mhm,
is 8 sessions with you, where in each session by itself, I come in as that unbalanced trader in a certain way. And I say, hey, I'm a trader, but this is how I'm
mhm,
feeling specifically. And then we have the holy fire Reiki treatment of that one that sort of rebalances the whole thing. It might take longer than 5 minutes. It's probably 15 minutes if I'm being honest. That's fine. Because it will take some time for the exchange,
okay.
but
Mhm,
really just as the way we work together already, I know that about 15 minutes as that session. And what we would do is we would say, here is the 15-minute session of Lucy working with me and squaring me away, and I'm being authentic. And as a trader, I've actually felt every one of those imbalances. And with your help, I'm going to get better. And we record
mhm.
that session, and then we can do a separate little 5. Hey, here's your quick fix stuff, and so we can figure out how to do the executive summary or the actual session itself. We'll render the 15-minute longer version session into a 5 minute, really nice, compact, you talking to them and taking me out of it. It's your treatment to them, which was the treatment you gave me representing them. And then that 5 minute session would sort of be just you talking to them. And then we do that 8 times, one for each of the imbalances. And then just sort of the front end gentle warm up, gentle cool down, and man, we will have made some magic in that. Um, yeah, how does that sound?
I love that so much. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm me when you are.
Well, I would then say, why don't you send me, you take a look at your calendar, and I think we probably need to schedule it'd be
Mhm.
like a 30-minute session, 8 times.
Okay.
And in that 30
Okay.
minutes, we'll just go through the whole thing. I'll render it down to an edited 15 minutes and an edited 5 minutes, which sort of captures the processing of the longer session into the shorter sessions, and then run it back through you for approval. Um, I don't want you trying to, you don't have to do any homework or special prep for trading or any of that other stuff because what you're bringing is exactly what's needed, just as you are. You already are perfect in every way for how you're doing it. So it's just being you
Oh,
will be fun.
thank you.
And so if you want to,
Mm.
if you take a look, I sent some notes later last night that sort of laid out kind of a generic background of
Okay.
Holy Fire Reiki, and then my portion of that I'm going to add is where I talk about this Kairos and Chronos, because as I said in my opening remarks, that sort of alignment, it resonates so strongly with all my coaching clients already. I want to try to show them how this heart treatment fits inside the head treatment that they're doing. They're trying to learn trading through their head and through their hands.
Mm.
And I want them to feel how to learn that through their heart. So when we put that stuff together, I'll be adding that material later in the usual way.
Okay.
So if that sounds good to you, I'm so I'm tickled pink. I'm as delighted as I could be. And if you yeah, take a look at your calendar and you figure out a 30-minute window that works for you, and I'll make time for that.
Okay.
And we'll do I'll give you a session warm ups or whatever, and we'll just go for it and see how it shakes out. And I mean, I could start
Beautiful.
I could start yesterday or next week, but sooner would be better. I would sort of like to be
Okay.
done by I would like to be done by 1 May with our 8 sessions. Only because if we're done by 1 May, I can have that whole package ready to go. And when they do the grand opening for me on that place in France, I'd like to be able to just say, here is an here's an actual thing. Here's the sketch of the Golden Bridge and the 5 quintiles and the vertical support beam and the connection to the roots and how you got me aligned,
Wow.
all of that stuff. And
Okay.
the other one, anyway, I'll send you the other diagrams that I drew for this. They're really pretty cool. But I don't want to hold you
This
up.
is
And my
so exciting. I feel like
yeah,
you're able to put words in certain things that I know metaphysically. So
yeah,
every part of my being is excited because there's a part of me that in the physical world I experienced I only wanted to find my center,
yeah,
and that's why I went into studying the Holy Fire Reiki and really dove into that. And now that I'm here and I'm ready
yeah,
to prepare like the back, I realized that I didn't have to prepare all of the background. Like that is
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Hey, can you see
Yeah.
that little picture? Let me so this is what happens, right? In the middle, that's the 8 directions. In the very center of that is our diamond mind, ourself, in the present mindful moment. And
Wow.
from the west is all this pressure from the past, all your memories and all the things that it gives you. And from the future is all this wave coming at you of infinity, kind of squeezing you in the middle. And then all of the top level
Hmm.
Father Sky stuff pushing down, and all of the Mother Earth stuff pushing up. And you're stuck in that middle. And if you're not grounded and centered, you can
Hmm.
lose yourself in all of that 4 directional noise. And so, what we need to create is that safe, trusted, truthful space, properly balanced, so that inside that we can do our work and start rolling towards our Dharma. And if you're centered and grounded and aligned, you can do that. And if you're not, you just get battered about by all of these forces. So, and then this one was the that triangle in the middle is when I'm misaligned and my heart is trying to, the head's going one way and the gut's going the other way, and my heart's trying to pull it together. If you get that aligned and grounded, you get that vertical support structure from grounding through your heart and soul, through the gut, the head, until you get to the keystone, this empty bowl where you're doing work. And then that goes over to your shadow and that goes over to your dream self. Now the whole golden bridge is built. So instead of separate pillars I'm trying to climb, I can actually fill those 2 gaps with the integration between shadow and self and the
Hmm.
transformation between self and my aspirational self. And the thing that I learned this week and last week was that your shadow is not your problem. Your shadow is yourself, and it's carrying all the weight of work to be done that the other parts weren't doing. And I actually have to look at my aspirational self, my dream self, who comes back with all these universal visions and everything and just hands it off. Here, you guys do the work, and it goes back to heaven and dreams on. And now we got all that extra work and not enough. He's not here to help us, and that so we're not performing, and then that feels bad, and then we blame the shadow, and it gets defensive, and then encases itself in armor with a mask, and you think that's a demon or a devil, but it's just gentle you on the inside feeling overwhelmed. And it takes bravery and love to go sit down and embrace and help it relax and release, properly place all the work, release the feelings to the universe in gratitude, love the shadow. And now let's go to work gently. We'll spend 20% of our time in shadow, 20% in dream, 20% in work, 20% in integration, bringing the shadow with us, 20% in transformation, bringing it all to the dream work. And now that whole cycle it's supported by that vertical alignment, so the work all the way down into the ground. So I saw that in a flash right as you were talking to me about the Golden Bridge and Sacred Fire and alignment and grounding. It all just clicked, and for that I'm like eternally grateful. That's what I want to say.
I love that. Thank you. And it's an honor. It's an honor to be here. I love when Vanessa is the one that invited me to the group.
Mm,
And she's like, hey, David is a really amazing coach. And just to be in the group that we're in and listen, and I feel the teamwork circulating. I feel David's
mm,
energy creating its magic in all of us, every single
yeah.
one. And you truly are heart centered. And to see where you are now and to see what you're doing for the world is it truly brings a smile not only to my physical being, my heart, my essence. It's like, yes. Because I came from a really dark space growing up.
Mm,
And for me there's I'm very sensitive to frequencies. So trading all of that seemed so overwhelming. It just seemed like, okay, I want to learn it
mm,
because it's fascinating. It looks really fun. I love numbers. I'm okay with graphs, but I love numbers, and I
mm,
love getting to know the rhythms of a particular system. And the way you explained it, how you bring the yin, you bring the yin to the trading world,
mm.
right away my heart opened even more because I'm like, oh, this is part of the key of what I want to learn.
No, what's funny is
Yeah.
I've probably had, I've been teaching for almost, well, 30 years, you know, thousands of traders. The best traders of my systems are all women. They, they out trade me. They out trade me on my own systems. The three best traders that I've ever trained and worked with that use my systems are all women, and they're all wonderful. And I
Mm,
don't know how they do it. They just say, "Oh," I said, "Yeah, well, how did you?" That's what I was going to do, but you already did it. How did you? Well, well, just look at the chart, and they just see and they feel their way through the chart, which is very yin. And most of the men are very yang, and they need to know, okay, what's the first rule, and what's the, you know.
yeah.
So I'm trying to breathe life into that from the bottom up. So anyway,
Oh,
I want to let you. Oh, go ahead.
what I noticed about what you said about the men that go into the analytical, like what's the first step? Immediately I saw a blockage, the similarities in the solar plexus. So if there's a big block there, it almost starts to bring the energy down. So
Yeah.
into, yes, into like I
Mm.
got to study. So it's what I'm experiencing, it's a lack of self-belief. And what a lot of the men, what I've realized is like they're carrying so much in their
It's all on
backs
their
or
back. You are so right. It's on their back. It's bending them over at the head. They don't feel it and know it in their heart, and so they're trying where the knowledge needs to be, and they think it's in their head, but you have to take the head knowledge through the gut and instinct and into the heart, and then let that be well balanced. So here's
Mhm,
what I think. Here's what I think. I think if I take each of those eight imbalances
mhm,
specifically, and I just give you, I open my heart to exactly what that feels like, and just in one opening statement, just complete, and then I can give you that recording, and then you can feel that. And when you feel like, okay, now that I feel that, here's how I can now say to that. That's probably the best way to do that is that either
mhm.
you could record your response to that in the message of loving kindness or Reiki adjustment and aptitude. That gives you time to sort of feel your way through that tangled as much time as it needs. Not like, okay, you're on the clock. Show me some magic here in 2 minutes. How about I tell you that story and you sit with it, and then you'll know when you're ready, and then you say, all right, here's how I think, and we just bring that together. I receive that and testify to it, and when I'm then I'll take my next steps, sort of like the recharging, and then the next steps I'm going to take are
Hmm.
these, and that makes it a very nice, concise coming together session. But it also gives me a chance to, instead of writing it in an email, I need to evoke it and emote it in words in this kind of story setting. Um,
Hmm.
I'll probably take a picture of you and talk to you and say, here's my heart. And then
Hmm.
you work that magic. And when you're satisfied with that, we'll just put those two things together. And then you and I can talk about it like a director's cut. We say, here's what I felt. And here's how once I record that and I put that into that space, that little container, I'll just put it in that little bowl. Here's my bowl.
Hmm.
You empty that bowl and you give it back to me. And then we talk about that to make the triangle. Me, you, higher self, and then off it goes.
I
That would
love
be
that so
pretty
much.
amazing. That would be amazing.
Yes.
So
That
that's what
works
I'm gonna
really
do.
well because, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it. I'm truly excited. I feel like this is what I needed. And I'm like, okay, God, what are you,
Yeah, well,
where are
here's
you
what you're
putting
gonna
me?
you want to talk about grounding. Here you are. Here's how I see you. I see you as a little turbocharged engine spinning and spinning and spinning. And this is a way for you to take that energy to ground it in work that needs to be done for people. And as soon
Hmm.
as those wheels hit that ground, it's going to get traction and go in that direction. And we're going to leverage that and help a lot of people in that direction. You'll be able to use that energy and testimonials and everything in all these other, but you say, hey, here's the practical payoff of what it's doing, people. It's just not my words, it's their words. And you already have my words of how it's already helped me. So what I'm going to do probably this weekend, because I'm so fired up already, I'm going to just testify. I'm going to take each one of those things when I'm ready, and I'm just going to. There's no sense holding it in, you know,
Yeah.
because as soon as I take the, because those are going to be authentic stories of the self, shadow stories of the self,
Yeah.
and I'm going to. And now here's why.
Yeah.
Here's what your next. If that works, and it will, I already see it. Hand over your heart. You know that this is true.
Hmm.
Uh, all we have to do for you now is when I model that, I said, guys, I spoke my heart out on this problem for 10 minutes. Everything that needs to be said can be said in 10 minutes. And I gave my my total story into that bowl for 10 minutes. And do you prefer Lucy or Lucero? Which name do you prefer?
Lucero.
Lucero. I
Lucero.
gave Lucero,
Yeah.
Lucero I gave Lucero this story, and she replied with her story. And so here's what I think. I think if you did one session, I don't know what you I have no idea what your hourly rates are, but for one of those sessions, these guys would pay $200 easy.
Hmm. Yeah.
And if you did eight eight sessions with them for 1,000, and you give them a little booklet of coupons, and you say, hey, you can buy a booklet of coupons of sessions for me for, you know, I don't know, 8 sessions for $1,000, and you use them when you need them. And you send me your opening one, and I'll already know your introduction, and then you send me the story that needs help, and I'll reply. And that's one little coupon click, and then that gives them skin in the game. and they'll do that. And does that sound, is that about the right pricing
Yeah.
for you? Okay.
Yes, yes. I usually charge 225. Yeah, if for
Uh,
that's for
per,
in person. In
yeah.
person.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one would be, yeah, this one would be, I'm going to record, I'm going to give them question prompts
Hmm.
that says, hey, these are some areas, and put your stuff in a 10-minute session, record it, send it to Lucero.
Hmm.
She'll send you a response, and 8 sessions for that'd be 125 a piece for if they got a booklet of 8 or something.
Yeah.
If that works okay for you,
Hmm.
then let me know if you think about it. If it needs to be different, let me know.
Yeah,
But
that's perfect.
I need to
Yeah.
sort of be able to tell them sort of a ballpark figure to because I'm going to tell them it's normally 2,000 and that I was able to persuade you to 1,000.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long that's going to last because the calendar is filled, and she may she may not like me that much after I send all you people there. So you better get it while you can. So I think what we'll do that would sort of be the way we're going to process this is sort of the demonstration of it,
Okay.
and and then I will feature you in that book that I'm doing with Mark Randall. I want to be able in one of those frames when I talk about building your emotional resilience and balance and preparing yourself emotionally and mentally for the challenges of combat and trading. I said, my go-to person is Lucero, and here's why, and how it all fit, and then what happened. And so that will be in there as a direct reference to you, and a link to you, and
Okay.
a link to you, and we'll try and drive some traffic to you. Now, here's if I am able to. I have a friend of mine's retiring from the army. And he thinks he's gonna go into the business as a global digital marketing manager
Hmm.
to drive traffic to people. I'm going to have him learn how to do that by driving traffic to me.
Hmm.
And so I'll have him drive traffic to you if we can. Where should I send them to for you?
For a
For just for where do you want people to come meet you? Is it the Instagram?
um I don't work with Instagram. So late I've been working through word of mouth for a while, and
Okay.
I send a Calendly link.
Okay. Well,
Um
here's what I would like you to think about
yeah.
is I think you need a page that is your business card, calling card, and as a brochure for your rest halt and healing place on the digital superhighway. That when you need a
Okay.
chance to just come to a rest halt, this is where you go. So I need a place that I can
Okay.
send them to you that doesn't need you to respond to them. It just sort of goes to your holding place and say, here's her brochure. Um,
Okay.
so, so when I travel, I go whatever the motel always has all the local sites of interest, and I just collect them all and say, which brochure do I love? I'll go see that one while I'm here. So I need a place when when you decide what that is, just send me an email and send me that
Sure.
note. And
Okay.
then for next steps, I would just ask you to take a look at the email notes of my understanding of Holy Fire Reiki, make sure I'm not lying.
Hmm.
And if it's approximately right, that's good enough. I'll send that to because I'm prepping my people for this. I want
Yeah.
them to appreciate that. And then I also put some notes in there about the um, Kairos and Chronos time. And I'm going to send them those two sketches I just showed you as part of this. I may take selected portions of this and
Hmm.
add that to the package I send out to them so that they're going to be knocking on my door and say, when is this ready? I need it now. There was a guy that talked to me last night who
Hmm.
doesn't know it, but he was asking me specifically. for what you and I just talked about. He says,
Yes.
I've got all this stuff in my head, but I'm not centered and I'm frustrated, tired, and I'm worried that maybe I can't do this. That's one of the imbalances.
Mm, mm,
So I'm gonna just channel all that stuff. I can put voice to that. I've got, like I said, thousands of hours of recorded coaching where I'm trying to work through with my head and my primitive heart with
mm.
guys. But that's how I know you're going to be great for them. So, so next steps is you kind of review that, get a feel for what I'm going to send. I'll send you
Okay.
the link to all this
Yes.
later today, along with the example of what the Notebook LM thought about it. It's going to have the little in-person podcast, so you can listen to that
How fun. Okay.
because it's funny. It's really funny. It it's a little cheesy at times, but it's actually really good. And then I
Ah,
will by Sunday, by Sunday I'm going to have all of those recorded, and then you just work on it at your pace.
okay.
And and what we could probably, if you got, for example, if you had your 8 responses to my 8 stories
Hmm.
and got those knocked out in one session like this, we could talk through each one of them, just hit the 5 minute highlight or a couple minutes. On this one, it was really, I felt this and you said that, and it really made me, and it was sort of be the after session where you and I talk about, I gave you this story, you gave me the response, we both thought about it, and we get together and we just kind of review our notes.
Hmm.
And then and then I will tell him, after I heard this, this is what I've been able to do. I'm already putting it into action. And
Hmm.
then that completes the whole, it's not just the story exchange. If you think about that as the triangle, my story, your story, the tip of that thing is the next action. The result of that is the next action. And in the center of that triangle is a circle spinning positively with love and support. That's the engine that's inside when these two forces came together and became um, the the directed action in the world. That's what happens in true story circles. So there we are. We have our job, and that was pretty good. That was about
Yes.
that was about 50 minutes. Look how much we got done in an hour. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll
It's
see
it's
you soon. Yeah,
yes, I would love to see you soon. Yes, I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna read your emails and oop,
yeah.
the doggies. Yeah, I'll reply, and I'm really grateful for this talk. It's really easy listening to you, and I acknowledge you for having a beautiful heart and spreading that to everybody around you. I do
So nice.
feel,
You're too kind,
yeah.
but I feel it, and I'm thankful. You keep
Yes.
bringing a light. Keep being a light in the world. Your light,
Thank
your light shines, and everybody needs to see it.
Oh.
I'm going to do what I can to help. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Love and joy.
Blessings. I'll talk to
Yep.
you soon.
Bye.
Ciao.